The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this.
Can I ask you if someone blackmailing you?
I said to Harvey, I swear to God, our family was cursed.
When did they issue a warrant?
One moment, Miss Adelson. Please keep your comments to yourself.
All eyes are on Florida as jury selection begins for Donna Adelson's trial. And we're also talking about the big legal win for Wendi. Plus, how will Donna's jail daughter tip the scales of justice? A fellow inmate who cozied up to Adelson could be testifying at trial. But did that informant unfairly manipulate Donna? And what happened to Amy Bradley? The 27-year mystery is trending in true crime. And her brother is joining us live. Also coming up this hour, who was Killer Kohberger's intended target? We've got some new documents being released that are providing more insight into the night of the Idaho student murders. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Tuesday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? It is that time. We've got an outstanding show planned, so let's get started. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. Can you smell it? The scent of burnt rubber and asphalt all over Wendi Adelson from going under the bus. Oh, I can smell it. Especially after that emergency hearing on Monday when Mama Donna made a big, bold legal move, an attempt to put Wendi right under that bus as Mama Donna was trying to force her dearest daughter to take the stand without the protection of immunity that she gets from the state of Florida. So ask yourself, my friends, why on earth would Mama Donna not want her precious daughter to have immunity? Well, maybe because she wants her to join her in the jail. Because without immunity, that's probably where Miss Wendi will wind up. You know, she squeaked by in Monday's hearing and avoided that bus. But I'm telling you, before this trial is over, somebody is throwing her under it. Maybe her beloved brother Charlie will do the job. Or maybe her Mama Donna does it. Or maybe the two of them engage in a joint effort to throw Wendi under there. Some way, somehow, it's getting done. I predict something will happen during this trial that is going to finally lead to charges for Wendi. And I predict it's going to come from someone in the family. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your Daily Docket.
Just generally speaking, were you involved with some of Mr. Patton's murders?
I helped him dispose of the bodies.
In Georgia, we've got the state's case continuing in the killer's daughter murder trial for defendant Christopher Wolfenbarger. Court's going to start up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Also happening in Georgia, we've got teenager Sarah Grace Patrick with a bond hearing this morning at 9 a.m. She's the 17-year-old who's accused of murdering her mother and her stepfather. And in Florida, we've got jury selection beginning in the matriarch mastermind murder trial for Mama Donna Adelson. She's accused of conspiring with her son Charlie to kill her daughter Wendi's ex-husband, law professor Danny Markell. Now, court is going to get underway shortly. We're monitoring that courtroom, and that is where we begin this morning here on Opening Statements. Let's talk more about that battle, that mother-daughter battle during that emergency hearing that was called on Monday. Wendi won the legal fight. Donna's defense team cannot force her to testify for them. Now, the judge quashed the subpoena that was issued to Wendi by the defense. Let's listen.
The defense cannot give the witness immunity as it relates to any matters in which she would testify under and could properly invoke the Fifth Amendment privilege. No witness can be called to the stand simply to invoke the Fifth Amendment, as there would be no basis for this witness to take the stand and give testimony on a relevant matter, and also could not affect her ability to also endanger her own Fifth Amendment right, I am going to grant the relief that is requested. If we need to revisit this issue for any purpose where the defense believes there is a line of questioning that will not go to the Fifth Amendment privilege of the witness, we will at the appropriate time. But I do believe it is the proper ruling at this point to quash the subpoena.
All right, so Wendy's just going to be called by the state. You know, let's take a little look back down memory lane, shall we? She testified in 3 of the previous trials. You know, the most recent one was the one for her brother, Charlie Adelson, and the government gave her limited immunity for what she says on the stand, okay? Now, if she were to testify for the defense, they can't give her immunity. They don't have those government powers, so that was why this hearing happened yesterday, because the defense wanted to call her too. And, you know, look, they can ask her any questions on cross, right? When the state of Florida calls her, but why would they want to put her up there all on their own? Let's talk about that. Let's bring in our legal eagles. I'm so happy to have in the studio with me criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Noah Pines, and joining me remotely, someone who practices in Florida, criminal defense attorney Jessica Mashali. Good morning to you both. All right, let's get your reactions to the hearing yesterday. Noah, would you start us off, please?
Well, sometimes the defense does something not necessarily because they think they're going to win, but to go through the process to let people know who are following this case, hey, we might want her to testify, and she's going to refuse to do it because she has this Fifth Amendment privilege. I think it is relevant that she will only testify under a privilege, because a jury should know that.
Right. And why would she need a privilege if she didn't do anything
Correct.
wrong? What in the world, Jessica Mashali? Your reaction to yesterday, please.
I agree 100%. We've talked about this so many times, Julie, how credibility is everything. I mean, the entire trial in every criminal case turns on credibility. Who does the jury believe? And in this case, Wendi has 0 credibility.
I think there is no love lost between Mama Donna and dearest daughter Wendi. So let's talk about this a little bit more. I've got a clip for you. When Donna apparently called Danny Markell, Wendy's husband, some terrible names during the marriage. And Wendi, threw Mom under the bus with that during brother Charlie's trial. So let's watch that moment together now.
Did your mom call Dan any disparaging names around this time frame?
Well, I just read them in the emails, but I don't remember them independently.
Okay. Did she call him an asshole?
Yes.
A narcissist?
Yes.
A bully?
Yes.
Religious zealot?
Yes.
Oh, that's not very nice. And how about how she said she couldn't remember? She got amnesia, Noah, but then after her memory was jogged by the prosecutor, she acknowledged it. What do you think there? Do you think Wendi was trying to protect Mom a little bit?
I mean, over the course of a marriage, a mother maybe not being that happy with her son-in-law, especially going through a divorce with her daughter. I mean, is that really that unusual? I don't think that that's unusual. I think that people understand that all the time, that, this family dynamic happens.
Sure. How about the fact that Wendi hasn't been charged yet? Maybe she'll never be. I've been in the camp that I'm stunned it hasn't happened so far. Jessica Mashali, I would love to get your thoughts on this. Are you surprised at all that she hasn't been charged up to this point?
I am surprised. I'm very surprised that this whole case took as long as it did for charges and trials to proceed. I mean, this happened over 10 years ago. And it's very surprising that Wendi hasn't been charged. I mean, some people are saying that they're waiting for the evidence to be stronger. They don't want to take a chance that she's acquitted. They don't want to take a chance that anything is dismissed. But I'm not sure what else they're going to get at this point. It may all turn, like you said, Julie, in your opening statement, it may all turn in what happens in this trial. And maybe she will be charged after this. And I think a lot of people would feel that that would be justice.
Yes, Jessica, thank you for that. And I think a point I want to make with both of you, who both are very seasoned, excellent trial attorneys, and understand that prosecutors have discretion. Different offices are going to do different things. You both have experienced that. You know, Noah, tell me, having been a prosecutor, do you think perhaps another office would have viewed this case differently than the office that's been handling this case so far and kind of trying it piece by piece, defendant by defendant?
So I've never seen a prosecution like this where you just have prosecution after prosecution after prosecution. At some point, you know, not that it needs to end, but it kind of does need to end because there are other cases, obviously, that are important in this jurisdiction that need to be prosecuted. I heard you call it that you believe that she's going to be charged after this trial because she's going to be thrown under the bus. I don't think that's going to happen, Julia. I just don't. I think that this may be the end of this case.
Do you think, Noah? Because my next question was going to be, what happens to Harvey? No charges for Harvey? Noah?
I mean, if there's not evidence that's already come out yet, you know, the real question is, when is it going to end, right? Is there a strategy that the state has? And if there is one, you know, maybe you're right, but that's a really long game to play.
No, it is. I acknowledge that it is, certainly, and I appreciate your prediction that this will all end here, full stop, this is going to be done. Jessica Mashali, would love your prediction. Do you think more charges come, or do you think it ends here with Mama Donna?
So you know, it's hard to put myself in a prosecutor's shoes because I'm such a diehard criminal defense attorney. But I think here, if I was the prosecutor, I would have done everything I could to try them all together. I think it would have been easier to convict all of them if they were all sitting in the same trial. When I've followed this case for years, I've been on podcasts about this case. Each one of these defendants has no credibility and sounds kind of ridiculous on so many levels, but on their own, you don't see how bad it really is. Had they all been all together, I think they would have had a better chance of conviction of all of the defendants. I think now that, unfortunately, Noah might be right. I don't know that this is going anywhere 10 years later, but I leave open what may come out at this trial. I think it does depend a lot on whether Donna is convicted or not, what she's convicted of, and what evidence sort of comes out.
Excellent points. Jessica Mashali, thank you so much. I know we need to let you go. Noah's coming along with us. More opening statements is still ahead, and more discussion about Mama Donna. We're talking about her jail daughter later in the program. Here is what's up next.
Obviously, losing my sister has been really tough and emotional, and but watching my parents go through that was some of the hardest stuff.
The Amy Bradley mystery is gaining national attention after 27 years after her disappearance from a cruise ship. And her brother Brad joins us live next. Plus, we've got some new details into what really happened the night of the Idaho student murders. Perhaps some information on who was the intended target. Don't go away.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Welcome back. Amy Bradley's story has captivated the nation. The Netflix documentary, Amy Bradley is Missing, has garnered tens of millions of views. Viewers are so curious about what happened to the 23-year-old, how she could have just vanished without a trace from a packed cruise ship.
Around 5:30 in the morning, I saw Amy on the balcony. 6 o'clock, woke up again. She wasn't there.
He said, I've been looking for Amy, and I can't find her.
We check every inch of the ship.
The captain came in.
He says, the FBI have searched. Your daughter's not on this boat.
So what happened to Amy Bradley? Well, her family has never given up hope, and this morning we're honored to have her brother Brad joining us. Brad, good morning to you. Thank you for your time this morning, and our hearts go out to you. Might I just start by saying I think everybody at our network and who's watched this documentary that I've spoken to just really feels for what you all have gone through. Let me start by asking you, what has really helped you hold on to hope that your sister's still alive?
Hi, good morning, Julie. Thank you for having me. I think all three of us have continued to hope, and it's largely, a gut feeling. I don't know how to explain it to people much better than that or make it make sense, but, we've always felt, each one of us individually, that Amy's still alive. The simple fact that we've never received any, concrete information or news that tells us that she's not, other than, the time frame being so long ago.
Mm-hmm. What was Amy like, Brad?
She was amazing. Been described many times as a life of the party. She was an athlete. She was a multi-sport athlete in high school, and got a full basketball scholarship. She was funny, very vibrant, full of life, and, always a great sister and friend.
Would you say that the documentary portrayed her pretty well?
Yeah, I don't know how much they spent portraying her as a person. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of time spent on her sexuality, which was an incompletely told story. She actually was dating a guy at the time of the cruise, or the months leading up to it. So I think it shared some insight as to what type of person she was and the things that she was interested in, but it wasn't really the full story, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask you about that, please, Brad. What exactly is the full story? Because we saw as the final episode was closing, a woman who said that she was a girlfriend of Amy's shared this message in a bottle, this beautiful love letter that some may perceive as perhaps a suicide note, the way it was written, the way it was asking for forgiveness about something that happened in their relationship. What can you tell us about that, please?
I think the letter was kind of a, forgive me letter for getting caught kissing another girl. Amy was very poetic. She liked to write. She wrote a lot of poetry. I think, there was no cryptic message in that, quote unquote message in a bottle. She knew she was going on a cruise. So, obviously there was a theme there, but, Amy was writing postcards to friends and buying gifts and talking to people about what she was going to be doing when she got home. So there's no room in our minds for any possibility regarding suicide. I think the note was, like you said, just kind of a love letter asking for forgiveness. And I think that, she probably had plans of getting back together with Molly after we returned from the cruise.
Mm-hmm. Brad, was there confusion for Amy with her sexuality at that time?
I don't know. We didn't speak about it a whole lot. Like I said, she dated men and women. So she was bisexual. She had a boyfriend for months leading up to the cruise. They were having a good time. She had written him a letter, telling him that she wanted to kind of take things slow, although she had had a great time with him and really enjoyed spending time with his family. I don't know. Amy didn't seem to be bothered much at all by it. We were all having a great time, and there was no struggling or, searching for self-identity. Amy was a very strong person, and I don't think that there was any struggle ongoing.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. Brad, the documentary, as you know, said that your parents were unaccepting of Amy coming out as gay. Wanted to ask you, is that true?
No, Amy came out to myself and my parents in 1995, so about 3 years prior to the cruise. And I guess you could say there was some surprise. I guess my parents had to come to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be, a source of grandchildren for them, as you've learned. Neither have I. But all of that was well gotten past. Amy's girlfriends and boyfriends came to the house. Girlfriends spent the night. Girlfriends went on vacation with us. In fact, Molly was at my parents' house eating Easter dinner with us in 2024. So we were all accepting of Amy. We all loved her unconditionally, just as we always had. And, whether there was a disgruntled ex with an axe to grind on there saying whatever she wants to say, just because a person says something doesn't make it a fact. And I've learned over the past month, especially online, it doesn't matter how many times I refute that nonsense. People are going to think what they're going to think. So have at it. But, we had no issues within our family. There was no contention. There was none of that.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. That's why I wanted to ask you directly, Brad, because you're right. None of us are responsible for anyone else's faulty perception. Let's talk, if we can, please, about what may have happened to Amy. So there is a theory that was put out there in the documentary that many people are thinking about, that perhaps she was taken. What makes you, in your heart of hearts, believe that's what occurred?
Well, for a number of reasons. The first two are that we know she didn't jump, and, never having been willing to go anywhere near the rail at any point during that cruise, we know she didn't accidentally fall off. We also have 3 eyewitnesses that put her with yellow that morning, 2 from outside the club that saw her go up the elevator with him, and 1 from inside the club that wasn't shared on the documentary. So we know that Amy was in that club with yellow close to 6 o'clock in the morning. And, we have obviously several credible eyewitness sightings of her in and around those islands, including Curacao, Aruba, and Barbados in the years that followed. And I know for a fact she didn't run away to start a new life. So, the fact that she didn't fall, she didn't jump, she didn't run away, leaves only that one possibility that she was taken and removed from the ship for whatever reason.
Brad, let's take a look at that photo together. The one I'm going to put up here on the screen so everybody can see it, the one sent to your family, alleged to be Amy, perhaps in a trafficking situation. The FBI used their facial recognition software programs to compare it to an older photo of her. They believe it's her. Can you look at this photo and say with all honesty that you believe with 100% certainty it is your sister?
No, not 100%. I do believe that with all the characteristics that have been compared through analysis of those photos and many other photos of Amy, that it's a high probability, but 100% no. That's certainly the one set of photos over all these years that really kind of takes your breath a little bit. So I can't tell you that I'm 100% certain. None of us can, but it's the closest thing that we've ever seen. And again, through the FBI's analysis of that photo, they agreed that there's a high probability that it is her or was her. Plus it's been 27 years that photo has been around the internet and on news segments. No person has ever come forward just simply saying, "Hey guys, that's not Amy, that's me." I find it odd that no one would step forward after that photo's been shared so many thousands of times. So we're confident that through the analysis that we've had done that is likely her or was likely her, but I can't tell you it's 100%.
Mm-hmm. I will appreciate your honesty, Brad. Back to the idea that you're sure she didn't jump. How about the fact that the little glass table was pushed up against the glass of the balcony, so perhaps she could have stepped on it?
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened. Even if that table was there that night, which it wasn't, and I'll explain further in a minute. Amy's, again, not going near the rail any point during the cruise. She's not going to climb on a table. If she were to get sick, she's certainly tall enough to vomit over the railing. The next several days when we met with the FBI, myself and both of my parents were separated for questioning, during which time they had us draw where, to the best of our recollection, the furniture on that balcony was. Each one of us individually drew the table where it was, back up against the sliding glass door between the chairs, not against the railing. As you saw the FBI agent on the documentary explain, that room was cleaned before the FBI was able to investigate. And my opinion is that table was moved to support a narrative that the cruise line would like everybody to believe.
Understood. Bradley, I wish we had more time to speak with you. Will you please come back and keep us apprised of any new leads that come? I know that you've had various people reaching out to you, tips. We know that Kim and Khloe Kardashian offered to assist your family. So anything that develops, please let us know. We'd love to have you back and talk some more.
I'd be happy to anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Take good care.
You too.
We're going to hit a break, and as we do that, we want to put the focus on Amy Bradley. We want to remember her this morning. We always say we want to be a voice for victims, and while we don't know exactly what happened, how she vanished, why she vanished, we just know that she's not here with us today, and our hearts go out to Amy's family as they continue keeping up hope and searching for her. We'll be right back.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what. What is the address of the emergency? 1122. And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
The Idaho student murders case is back in the spotlight as Idaho State Police are releasing nearly 600 pages of documents from their investigation into killer Bryan Kohberger. There were reports of alleged stalking of Kaylee Gonsalves, plus reports that a witness overheard someone saying during the murders, quote, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you." Investigators interviewed a friend of the female victims, a woman who used to live in the same King Road house, said, quote, she heard Gonsalves was walking her dog once and had seen somebody hiding behind a garbage dumpster. Gonsalves felt that somebody had been watching her, and this was about a month prior to those homicides. Another friend told investigators that before the murders, Gonsalves had claimed to have seen a shadowy figure watching her from the vegetated area behind the residence, which understandably freaked her out. Gonsalves also had told the roommates about a stalker in Moscow, Idaho. Oh, this gives me chills. So was Kaylee Gonsalves Kohberger's intended target? Let's talk about that. Let's bring back in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Noah Pines in the studio, and welcome in Court TV digital producer Lauren Silver, who's been poring over all of these released documents for us. Noah, let me begin with you. Your reaction to Kaylee possibly being the intended target, does that make sense to you?
Well, you know, we who have been talking about the case have kind of been doing in a vacuum, in that we haven't had all the discovery, because that doesn't come out before a trial happens for obvious reasons. And now that the case is over, you know, all those public records are out there and people are going to start looking in to really see what was going on. So this gives a little bit of insight, you know, potentially as to why he was there and who was the intended victim. It's an insight that you didn't have before. You knew some of the facts, but you really didn't have all of the details, you know, and now that this information is coming out, and I expect more, obviously, 600 pages isn't a lot for a case like this. I'm sure there's more somewhere. You're going to learn more about really what the evidence was.
Yes, I appreciate that context, Noah. Maybe not in terms of evidence, but in terms of reading. Oh, yes, it's a lot. And Lauren, you did it. You poured through every single page on every single document that was made public. Give us your biggest takeaways of what you learned, if you would, please, Lauren.
For me, it was probably the red flags. There were a lot of red flags when it comes to Bryan Kohberger, his behavior, his actions, the way he spoke, the way he interacted with other people. And his attorneys had made a filing that implied he had an autism diagnosis, but this went far beyond anything like that. They described him as constantly argumentative in class. He would stare people down and try and use his physical position to exert power or dominance over other people. He would be late to classes taught by women, but not to men. He was misogynistic, homophobic. He constantly argued in class, wanted to focus on serial killers, and really only wanted to discuss the offenders themselves and not any victimology. But despite his incessant need to talk and argue in class, whenever the murders were brought up, which I'm sure they were a lot because he was studying criminology, he would not participate in those discussions in class. And there were some people noticing that he had hand injuries in early November around the time of the murder, including cuts to his finger and bloody knuckles. He told people that that was from boxing.
Boxing,
yes.
huh? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's also an interesting interview that was done with one of his professors at Washington State. Now, these names are redacted. I do not know which professor this was. But this professor said in a faculty meeting before Christmas break, the entire conversation was focused on Bryan Kohberger because he was so problematic. The professor warned, quote, "We will hear he is harassing, stalking, and sexually abusing his students," but said that he's smart enough that in 4 years, we're going to have to give him a PhD. So they ultimately decided to cut his funding and remove him from the TA program, which is a step that had never been taken before at Washington State because of behavior.
Wow, this is really illuminating, Lauren. As you said, so many red flags that this guy makes people uncomfortable. It seems like he has problems with women, lots of complaints from students, teachers saying, oh gosh, if he gets a PhD, it's probably going to be a problem as a professor, maybe harassing students. Legally, Noah, when we think, okay, this guy was a weirdo and nobody liked him and just a kind of a nuisance in the classroom, but what can legally be done with somebody like this?
Well, legally, he might not have violated law. However, he might have violated a school code of conduct, which is very broad. Most of these codes of conduct are very broad. They prevent people from harassing or intimidating other students. You know, I've seen that enforced. There's obviously Title IX. If there's sexual harassment, there could be a Title IX action where you know, the school brings an action to kick him out of school, but somebody typically has to complain to make that happen. And I think what happens these days is that people are afraid to complain because they're afraid of, you know, maybe the backlash that could come against them. But I bet you if you went back and looked at everything that was looked at, he violated the code of conduct.
Definitely, Noah, definitely. Some more examples of that. So some women told Washington State University about feeling uncomfortable around him. We cited specific pages here. Faculty receiving complaints about him, being described as creepy. He made some classmates cry, even. Sexist, disrespectful, picked fights. People reported him not being empathetic. Told a female student that was both disabled and gay that he would need his partner to be physically perfect and a disability would not be acceptable. Oh my gosh. A divorced woman claims Kohberger said that he did not date broken women after initially pursuing her. Boy, this guy, a real gem of a person, sounds like he is. Lauren Silver, tell me what else jumped out to you in terms of his interests, hobbies, anything else that you think might surprise people to know about this guy?
So there were a couple of interviews with people that knew him behind bars. One was an inmate who lived with him. The other, it's not clear if it was an inmate or some sort of corrections officer. Again, the names are redacted. But they said that he goes through 3 standard-sized bars of soap each week because of hours-long showers and excessive hand washing. His hands are red as a result. He did enjoy watching information about his case. Apparently, immediately after being arrested, he came and saw his coverage, and he said, wow, I'm on every channel. And he did continue watching coverage of his case and enjoyed it. But when we started to discuss his family or friends, he would turn off the TV. He did not like that. But he does enjoy court TV. The inmate who lived with him said that he is a fan of court TV, and he specifically enjoyed our Murdaugh coverage. So,
my.
Glad we have a courtie.
Right. Yeah, apparently Kohberger's a courtie, but we're not claiming him as a courtie. Lauren, I wondered what specifically he said, because I got a call last night about that, and I'm going, what? Oh, so apparently he's a court TV fan, and the Murdaugh coverage specifically interested him.
Yeah, and I mean, as a criminology student, sort of a weird choice.
Right.
Not a very well-planned crime there either, but...
Right. This is true. Gosh. Noah, tell me, your thoughts on that. Do you think that There was a fascination with crime that got him interested in committing crime, or do you think maybe the interest was always there with a guy like, you've seen a lot of criminals in your career and in the courtroom. What do you think? Do you think, like, which came first, the chicken or the egg, essentially?
While you were talking about him watching Murdoch, I'm like, who's a bigger sociopath? And that's literally what I was just thinking, and they're just different sociopaths. I mean, they're not they are narcissistic, but they're really both sociopaths. Obviously obsessive hand washing would be OCD. You don't know if the mental issues, OCD and those other things spurred what he ended up doing, or if everybody thinks he's a creep, then that can obviously then spur, well, I'm going to show them who I really am and exert control. So the more you treat him as a pariah, the more he probably acts, as a pariah.
Acts like one, right. Boy, this has been a fascinating deep dive. We'll keep going. Anything more we learn about this, because I think, of course, the big overarching question hasn't yet been answered. The why. The why would someone do this, especially somebody
I don't know you're ever going to get that answer.
The world of academia, right, Noah? I don't think so. A great talk. Noah Pines, thank you so much. Lauren Silver, thank you for all the hard work. You look gorgeous. Get some rest after all that reading last night. I'm sure you were up late. We'll see you soon. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit a quick break. Coming up next on Opening Statements, we're talking about the jury picking going on this morning for Mama Donna Adelson. And will her quote-unquote jail daughter tip the scales of justice?
This is the Court TV podcast. This week,
did Donna Adelson orchestrate the murder of her former son-in-law? We'll get you ready for the start of the matriarch mastermind murder trial.
Opening Statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight.
They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, Legendary Trials.
When did they issue a warrant?
So what happened is we have to take you to our warrants room for that information to get entered, and then after that gets entered, before we can take you to the jail, to the local jail.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that?
Oh, that's how it works. You don't know. We are covering the jury selection of Donna Adelson. Welcome back to Opening Statements. I have a live look at the courtroom for you. They are ready to go. Here we are in the courtroom, and not seeing Donna just yet, but as soon as we get her, we're going to pop up the signal, and I'll let you see her. So Monday, there was that emergency hearing called, right? We talked a little bit about it, and now we want to talk about whether testimony from one of Mama Donna's fellow inmates is going to tip the scales of justice. So her lawyers asked the court to suppress statements made from a fellow inmate who said that Donna referred to her as her jail daughter. The defense motion says the inmate named Darina Bernhardt, this is her, has been working with investigators and feeding them information about Adelson. The motion says that Bernhardt didn't just listen, but actively asked questions and was therefore acting as an agent of the state, and that her statements should be inadmissible. Oh, so they're saying some trickery was going on. What do we think about this? Let's talk about it with our legal analyst guest. He's the former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. He's in private practice now. Dave Ehrenberg back on the show. Good morning to you, Dave. All right, so what do you think? Is this fair game, these statements, or do you think this is underhanded, as the defense is claiming?
Good morning, Julie. Well, it depends. Donna is such an amateur, She thinks that she's in control of everything. She and the maestro being her son, Charlie, who's in prison for life, they allegedly concocted this whole plot because they're Adelsons. They can get away with anything, right? And now she's, again, seemingly hoisted by her own petard. She's out there making statements to her jail daughter, but the jail daughter's looking out for herself, trying to use this against Donna so that she can get released early. Now, here's the thing. If Donna's just spewing her stuff and the jail daughter is just listening, then it's fair game. But what the state can't do is to send someone in there to elicit incriminating comments. That's a violation of her Sixth Amendment rights. So that's the issue. Now, how active was this jail daughter in getting these statements? How many questions did she ask? Was she sent in there? Did she do this all on her own? Was she really just listening? I mean, these are all the questions the judge is going to have to sort out. But here's the thing. They've got so much evidence against Donna. I don't know if you want to go down this road, because if you put this stuff into evidence, it could lead to a conviction being overturned on appeal. Be very careful, prosecutors here.
Oh, excellent advice, Dave. I knew you would have a great legal explanation for us. And as you can see, we've got the judge on the bench, the Honorable Stephen Everett, presiding over this case, getting ready to start the jury picking this morning. Dave, how do you think that's going to go in Tallahassee? We know that Mama Donna's team, once it moved out of there, they don't think she can get a fair jury. What do you think?
Oh, I think you can get a fair trial anywhere. I mean, I have had high-profile cases, and you'd be surprised how, well, you wouldn't be surprised, Julie, but I think some people would be surprised that there are a lot of people out there who've never heard of anything because they don't pay attention. They're on their own social media, or they're just not watching court TV. I can't imagine, but there are a lot of people, even in a smallish town like Tallahassee, who don't know enough about this case. Now, even if they do know something about the case, that's okay. You can know something. You don't have to be an empty vessel. You just have to be able to set aside your biases, everything you know, and just follow the evidence and the law. That's all you need from jurors, and you can definitely find those jurors anywhere in the country. I mean, after all, we had trials involving Donald Trump. I mean, if he can get a fair trial of a jury of his peers, then Donna Adelson can.
Dave, you're so right. We've seen these examples time and time again. You're absolutely right. And so I would assume you agree with the judge's call here in saying, let's just wait and see before I make any ruling on that motion to change the venue. Let's just see if we can get the jury picked and find jurors who can be fair and impartial and follow the law.
Exactly, and they will. I'd be shocked at this late stage if there was yet another delay. I mean, this judge has had enough with delays. We all had enough. We're ready for this to go. It's about time, right?
Right. It is about time, my friend. Oh, you're so right. Let me ask you this, please, Dave. Do you think Mama Donna is going to take the stand?
Yes. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And Charlie took the stand. Where do you think he got his arrogance from, his belief he could snow the jurors? He got it from his mom. They both think they can put one over on the jurors. I mean, Donna took the stand in her pretrial hearings. It did not go well, but she wants to spew her story of this double extortion plot, which went so well for Charlie that he's in prison for the rest of his life. Donna is apparently going to do a version of that she's just a loving mom who was asked to give $300,000 to her son, and she went ahead with it and was extorted twice, or at least that's what she believed. The story falls apart very quickly, very easily. I think this case is going to lead to a guilty verdict.
Dave, I love your analysis. We could talk to you all day. We really could. Before we have to close out the show, I want to ask you for a prediction. Do you predict that something in this trial will lead to charges for Wendi?
I think that if Donna is convicted, I think she will be, then Wendi is likely to be next. I don't think what happens in the trial will affect prosecutors' decision. I think the die has already been cast.
Gotcha. Dave Ehrenberg, you're the best. Thank you so much for weighing in on this one this morning. We'll be talking more in the coming weeks. My friends at home, thank you for being with us for opening statements this morning. If you like this episode, watch it again. We put them up every day online. Just go to your favorite website, courttv.com, click on the shows tab. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on courttv.com.